There was a scene in which I had to wear rubber breasts for comical effect, as if there were any other kind of effect you would wear them for. Opening a bank account, I don't think so. It can only be comical effect. He was a drinking, I think, and he was a. There were three sort of beer buddies of. Was it Blackadder or somebody else? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was the Whiteadders.
The Whiteadders, that's right.
Miriam
Margolyes. That's right.
Yeah.
And
so it was a farce, wasn't it? There were the Whiteadders, who were Puritans, were coming to stay, and then the three drinking buddies were having it. Was it a stag party or something?
Something of that nature.
I've forgotten that, you see.
Yeah. But it was hilarious.
Yes, I hated it, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, it was my least favourite episode.
Okay, so that was the first thing
I did. Then Prince Ludwig.
Yes, I played Prince, but I had the strong feeling at the time that someone had backed out at the last minute.
No.
Well, you say that now. How am I going to prove you wrong?
Hugh, I remember when you were shit.
Oh, that's sweet. But of course it was absolutely thrilling, because by that time, Stephen had been doing most of the second series.
Yeah, he was Melchett, wasn't he?
That's right, he was Melchetting. All that stuff. And, you know, I had pangs, of course, pangs of jealousy, and it was a real thrill to get a ticket onto that.
Oh, but the boots on the other foot now, I think.
No. There are two boots, 2 feet, John. Plenty of boots to go around. But yes, it was a thrill. I remember that, to be part of the whole. Terribly exciting.
So when you first came in as Simon Partridge and then as Ludwig, do you remember it
I think
being...
I may be the only person who played 2 separate roles.
In the same series, yes.
In the same series. Yes. But anyway.
Do you remember how chaotic it was?
Yes. I remember nothing else. It was a free-for-all in a way. I mean, not a free-for-all. I mean, of course, it was ordered chaos. And you were pulling the puppet master was tweaking us in various directions. And at the middle of it all, I do think that Rowan's sort of demeanour, the way he handled the whole thing, was absolutely astonishing looking back on it. Because he had that sort of very difficult balance between, I mean, he's playing the main character, he's playing the title role, and he's got to take responsibility for it and hold the centre of it, but at the same time he has to let other people flourish around him and contribute to other people's, and he sort of kept such a wonderful atmosphere of calm.
He wasn't cross, was he? Amazing.
He wasn't.
He could have been really cross.
He was incredibly generous, and yet never sort of shrugged and let other people run away with it. He always had control of it. He always took responsibility for it. He was the adder, and he had to be the adder, and he sort of owned it, if in that modern expression. But at the same time, he let everyone else sort of, argue and bicker and, go off at weird tangents.
I seem to remember that we would write lines for him as well, so that you'd have to have
which he then mouthed to himself. He's sort of replaying them like a... Yes, that's funny. You know, it's wonderful to watch him sort of doing this weird calculations that he does. The 4th series was terrifically enjoyable. It had... Because it had at its backdrop the greatest tragedy of modern man, and that gave the thing a poignancy and a texture that few other things I've ever been involved in have had or could have had. You know, we had various histories of the First World War were lying about. I don't know who supplied them, where they came from, but I suppose the designers wanted photographs, and they just seemed to be about the place, material. And in an idle moment, I think we were all sort of gradually soaking up these absolutely heartbreaking details of life in the trenches and the loss to that generation.
Thank you so much. Hugh.
Sorry to rush off. Thank you. All right, and go well. Okay.
Cheers.
Bye.